Happy Wednesday, everybody. Hump day.
Hump day.
As always, we are coming to you live on Facebook, Inside the Squared Circle, and YouTube as well. This is the All Elite Hour. I'm Bobby.
I'm Joshua.
And we are going to be breaking down all of the action that we had here tonight on AEW. This was a very promo-centered AEW. There was matches, but
I think I got a total of 5 matches in the whole show. 2
and
hours.
and this was very promo. And if there wasn't a promo, there was a lot of backstage or altercations that took place. So kind of a different take. I'm not saying I didn't like it, not saying I liked it, just different than our normal Dynamite.
Right.
We started off with Alan
Angel,
sorry, had a brain fart for just a second, versus Kenny Omega, this generation's best wrestler. And great match to start. Angel has taken Omega to the limit twice. Never's come up victorious, but has taken him to his breaking point twice before. So there was no doubt that this was going to be a great match to start. Crazy back and forth. Both wrestlers, none of them, it was crazy the 50-50. For Omega, I haven't seen it personally. The only time I've ever heard an Omega match be 50-50 was when he faced the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. That was the last time I think I've heard a split 50-50 match, and that wasn't that long ago. But prior to that, when's the last time?
True.
And this match comes from, obviously, last week. We had the Dark Order versus the Super Elite in the Haunted House or costume match, however you want to put. We know Hangman Adam Page has the alliance with the Dark Order, hence why we had this match. But great match.
I guess referring back to what you were saying, the only last match I could see other than the Bryanson match where they were 50-50 would be the Moxley feud, where he had the fuse with Moxley.
I would agree.
Because that feud, they were 50-50 as well. But yeah, like you were saying, just a great match for the little very, very close near falls where Angel almost got the win over Omega. And that ending for the match was a little more than I could actually bear to stand. But Kenny getting cocky there at the end kind of almost costed him in the end.
Yeah, he could have, that first V-trigger, he could have won it there, but instead he had that cocky pin.
Right.
And Angel, there was no leg hook, there was nothing. Angel was able to just easily kick out of that. We also want to point out the counter from Omega for the splash. Omega was able to get those knees up.
That's that. Disregard the moonsault from the inside out.
Absolutely,
Angel hit on a standing vertical Kenny Omega.
That's one of the things I love about AEW is nobody is afraid to get up on that top rope.
I mean, Lance Archer wasn't.
He will be from this point moving forward. Sore subject. Literally, he's got a broken freaking neck. Gotta love it. But I just love that, we'll dive outside. We'll throw caution to the wind. It's crazy how easily willing these guys are to go out there.
I mean, I do appreciate that, especially them being. It kind of gives them the what if factor and the wild and crazy factor. I do like a more sense of safety with the work though too. because you do have those what if moments like with the Lance Archer situation, and
you got to know your body's ability,
right? And like we talked about last week on the show, the Black Lesnar incident of WrestleMania 19, where some serious stuff can really happen to you if you're not properly trained for that stuff. So, but nonetheless, this is not what we were talking about. It was more of a what an amazing moonsault that he actually hit. But there's a reason why Kenny Omega is the world champion, and he proved it here tonight.
Absolutely.
So after the V trigger and the cocky pin, Kenny Omega says, "Screw all of this. I'm done with it." 2 more V triggers right to the face, back to back,
against the rope. So there was no, breakaway. His neck was right on the rope, and that's, that is, one of the bad things of AEW is they throw caution to the wind a lot.
Right.
With some of the super kicks and the way that necks are placed, it sometimes it scares me a little bit,
especially when people have a history of like certain injuries.
Oh, we got Miro, we've got Danielson, we've got the list goes on of guys that are neck injury prone, and it's crazy.
And we're still doing, you got Cage too.
Yeah,
Christian Cage, he's got concussions and stuff like that, and they're still just ravaging their bodies.
Yep.
Anyway,
fortune and fame ain't worth it that much.
Right. 3 big V triggers, and obviously 1, 2, 3, it's over. Omega gets the win. Obviously leading into his big Hangman Adam Page versus Omega match for the title at Full Gear. Then after that, he tries to attack Angel, picking up a mic, telling him that, thy make him big, thy take it away. Gonna try to beat him up with a chair. And then out comes, of course, Hangman Adam Page, as we said earlier.
Cowboy shit.
Pretty much scaring off Kenny Omega.
Not pretty much. Kenny Omega ran like a scalded dog.
But
leaving the belt behind.
Kenny Omega did leave the belt in the ring. Hangman Page said he'll play nice. Here's it for 10 more days.
Hold on tight, bud. It's only 10 more days. I firmly believe that Adam Page Hangman Page is going to walk out as the AEW World Champ.
I have told you since this match has been announced that Page will be the champion, because it is the only way that this story can make sense. You bring these guys together. You've seen them start as the Elite. They had this friendship. Then you started seeing the friendship gap. Then they became the tag team champions. Then you've seen that friendship gap. Now you're starting to see them separated again, obviously, as Page is going to win the title. This is going to come from this full circle. This is classic long-term storytelling at its finest.
Absolutely.
Now we'll see how it goes. And
this is a serious Hangman. This is
probably the most geared up, no pun intended.
Yeah.
Hangman Page that I have seen since he's arrived in AEW. This should have been the Hangman Page we seen when he fought Chris Jericho the first time for the title.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we would have had him as the champion instead of La Champion. Not that I didn't like Chris Jericho as the champion. Don't get me wrong. Me like me some La Champion, but
Judas in our mind. After that awesome match to start, we get the guitar riff of Cult of Personality, and CM Punk graced us with his presence,
which is not popping as much as it used to.
Yeah, it took a minute for the crowd to kind of.
I mean, they did start shouting Punk and things like that, but it's that guitar riff from day one moving forward is just less and less.
We're gonna have to start keeping an eye on that. But it was weird to see him in the middle of the ring, kind of in catcher's position.
Well,
but
not crisscross applesauce.
Yeah, he said, I'm not crowd surfing today. I'm in a foul mood. I'm kind of in a bad mood. And I want to take an opportunity shed some light on this based off his promo. It's been out on Facebook and on the news, and they talked about it today. Jon Moxley has stepped aside to get treatment for some alcohol issues. And, I can imagine in his line of work or any of these wrestlers, man, that they're in the public eye, how bad it's got to be to want to take that, and how at the top of your career he's in the tournament to say, you know what, I got to step out and I've got to address this. And I am a huge Jon Moxley fan. I've been a fan of him since Dean Ambrose. He is my wrestler of AEW, and I wish him the best. Can't wait to see him. But Moxley, as one of your fans, get the help you need, bud. And we'll see you back. And I can't wait to hear Wild Thing and watch you come down from the crowd again. And just, anybody out there, it's always okay to ask for help, whether it's struggle with mental health or an addiction. It's always okay to ask for help. So we're going to move on a little bit. Enough of the sap stuff, but I wanted to bring that to light.
It just shows that he's putting his family first.
Absolutely.
And there's nothing ever wrong with that.
And CM Punk talked about how he wished he had. And there's been a lot of, CM Punk videos or when he went to talks, and how he always felt like he had to pull himself out or just Band-Aid everything and sweep it under the rug and stay on that hamster wheel, as he talked about. But it's okay to step down and focus on what really matters.
Because nobody's more important than yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Number 2 reason, while CM Punk was in a foul mood, we saw on Rampage on Friday, this past Friday, we had Bryan Danielson versus Eddie Kingston, and the American Dragon put Eddie Kingston to sleep. And Eddie was not happy about that. While CM Punk was in doing a promo shoot after the match, and Eddie Kingston came to interrupt and put his nose where it didn't belong. And it's been bashed by people, Bully Ray, Eric Bischoff. People have said that it doesn't make sense because there's been no build for this feud. I tell you what, people like wrestlers and people like CM Punk and Eddie Kingston, they don't need a feud. They don't need a reason to kick the crap out of each other. They're 2 wrestlers who are great at their craft. Eddie's Crazy Eddie. There's a reason he's Crazy Eddie. He'll just do what, throw caution to the wind. And Punk, he's never been afraid to speak his mind about somebody. So it is scheduled, not a match, but a face-to-face confrontation. I do not believe that we're going to see these 2 fight until Full Gear. I think that'll get added to the card.
I disagree with the fact that you don't think that they need a story.
Okay.
So I disagree with the fact that they will need a story, because the match, it's kind of like the Adam Page, Kenny Omega story.
Okay.
So I've been anticipating this match because we've been waiting for the payoff.
Gotcha.
Of the story, right?
Makes sense.
So
yep, I'm with you.
It's kind of like CM Punk's been going through these matches, and he's 5-0. So he's been picking up these matches, like helping, youngsters who've been jumped, by, for instance, like Bobby Fish. Bobby Fish jumped the youngster after a match. So he comes out to help him, Okay, now all of a sudden he's facing Bobby Fish. Okay, yeah, I get it. He wants some Bobby Fish action. Okay, he's saying that the reason for him fighting him now is because he doesn't like to be interrupted. Okay, well, if somebody interrupts me on the street in a conversation, like, I'm not fighting him. That's not what I'm doing. I'm going to solve my problems a different way. I mean, it's to me, you could build the rivalry based on something else other than that. Not to say that I don't want Eddie Kingston and CM Punk to tussle, because I want to see it, but I get behind more things when there's a reason for them doing it.
Right.
When I can actually when I can view and see why. Oh, that's why they're doing this. Okay, right. Now I can root for somebody that I want to actually win.
And we've seen, the Eddie Kingston and Miro rivalry that was built really well, and the promos that those two put together were really well.
Exactly.
Up, and it was a great match. And I get where you're coming from, but I don't think that. I think this is a heel turn for Eddie. For one. And for two is I don't think that this is just the start of the build, because we still have 10 days. So you still have a Rampage and you still have a Dynamite before Full Gear.
And another Rampage, right?
And so we have 2 Rampages and a Dynamite. So we could build, but I'm not I guess when I'm just making sure I hear you correctly, it could have been built. It started better.
But it could have been
okay.
We could have built this at the start of last month and worked it till Full Gear, where these guys only talked, did promos, fought in tag matches, or they never even fought at all.
True.
And had a reason. But when the time that they got to Full Gear, they wanted to rip each other's heads off, and all you wanted to do was see it.
Oh, I get it.
But now I'm like, okay, well, now CM Punk just wants to fight this guy because he interrupted him in a promo.
Right.
Well, CM Punk's done how many promos since he's got to AEW?
That's all he's doing.
Right. Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
He's been on every 8, Rampage and Dynamite, and he's only wrestled 5 matches. So
exactly. That's what I mean.
That goes without saying. I just wish he would have done the crisscross applesauce.
I know, but I think he was trying to be more serious.
Yeah,
I think that the crisscross applesauce is more like a pipe bomb type situation.
and there was not it was more shedding the light than pipe bomb.
I think that they did pick the right person to talk about Moxley.
I did too, and
because that was kind of an intent. I got goosebumps listening to CM Punk.
Yeah, and he said, we're not the best. I know Moxley. We have a good relationship, but it's not like
he calls him every night when he leaves,
right? And he did say that he was going to put himself in Moxley's spot.
Mm-hmm.
But because of this Kingston issue, he's not going to. And we found out that Miro got put in that spot. Which
we'll talk about that match later.
Right. We will get into that a little bit. So after the CM Punk promo,
we get some returns. Yeah, returns.
We get to see the return of Christian Cage and Luchasaurus. And this was not a match. This was just...
It could have been. Should have been.
No. Because AEW's tag matches are hard enough to try to follow along, let alone the animosity.
So I think this is going to be a Full Gear thing anyway.
Absolutely.
Because the Super Elite's not booked yet.
Right.
And
we know the tag teams.
This is a feud that's been building.
Yeah.
See, this is a feud that you want to see because it's been building.
And they've taken out Luchasaurus. They've taken out Christian Cage. They've taken out Jungle Boy. They took out Adam Cole.
They took out Adam Cole.
They took Adam Cole. Which, with a
concerto.
Thank you. Really? Come on. We're copying and pasting? Really?
I mean, to be honest, it's literally Edge's and Christian's go-to.
I guess.
I mean, it's literally like their copyright.
But I just want to point out, he must not have been hurt too bad, because they announced that Adam Cole's going to be fighting on Friday. So,
I mean, Jungle Boy went through a table off the announced.
He didn't go through a table. He flew.
Right, but I mean, that was off the stage, and he's back. He was back this week.
Right. That's why he's one of the pillars.
Adam Cole will definitely be a legend before all is said and done. So
That's for sure. But nevertheless, they kicked the crap out of each other. They took about 10 minutes of time, and with the
Concerto.
thank you, and that was that. After that, we get FTR, or we get an open challenge for the AAA title. We get Aerostar and Samurai
Del
Sol, which he looked very familiar to me. Not at first, he didn't.
Someone did his research.
Not at first, but there was and they obviously they faced FTR, the current AAA title holders, which, man, it really bugs me that they're the AAA titles.
We could go on for that,
but we're just not going to. We've talked enough about that in other shows. If you want to know about that, watch last week's episode. We spent a good 5 minutes on that.
But we ranted pretty good.
We're not going to waste that time. But so anyway, the match was going on. A lot of moves are going on. Samurai Del starts the match, and I'm watching him fight, and he looks really familiar to me, but I can't place him. So what really drove it, where I've seen this guy, is they do that lucha thing. Lucha. And they did that, Aerostar and Samurai, they did that outside the ring, and I went, wait, is this the Lucha House Party just repackaged in AEW's version? So I went on
the old Google device.
I went on the old internet, and I actually, yes. So Samurai Del Sur, aka is Kalisto, formerly known as Kalisto from WWE, which this is he was a whole different person. He was much better. I liked his mask better.
Kalisto was a former U.S. champion and a former cruiserweight champion. I mean, in his own right.
But he got booked very rarely.
Yeah, I mean, everyone that has left the WWE has got booked crappy. That's kind of why they left.
Right. I mean, true. And then they brought up the fact that Aerostar held at one point with Drago, was his tag partner, held the AAA tag titles for 280 days, which is very impressive, considering that it's just open challenges and that belt just kind of goes to whatever promo has it. And another cool fact on him, which while I was down that rabbit hole,
the Google device,
the old Google device, Aerostar has wrestled, has tagged up with Tony Nese. He has fought in different promotions. I won't mention them all, but at one point or another, he has fought AJ Styles. He has fought Nick and Mac Jackson. He's also faced Tony Nese. So he has definitely been around, whether you know him or not. He's definitely been around. So this was a great match. Obviously, FTR, Wheeler and Wilder. It's crazy. They are, they're experts themselves. They've been been around a while. AEW tag matches.
You either love them or you hate them, don't you?
And but there's some that I love to hate them. I think it's my thing. I love them, but I hate them.
Yeah. Because
there's some that are fantastic, and then there's some that are they're fantastic, but quit calling them a tag match. Call them a tornado tag.
Right.
And this was the exact thing. Is there's so much. It's all impressive moves. Del Sur Samurai went for the double Hurricanrana. That was blocked, and he got a double power bomb. There was the jumping out, the in and out of the ring. There was the high flying.
The thing that I think bugs me the most is, like, if you're gonna do it one way, like, just make it known from the very get-go that this is how it's going to be. And I think that they've done enough matches to the point where, like, if you're a long-term fan, you know that, okay, it's a tag match. At one point, someone's going to sound this secret alarm. No one else is going to hear it. And then all of a sudden, everyone's just going to get in the ring and everyone's just going to start
raising Cain. And eventually, someone else is going to sound another alarm where we need 2 people in the ring.
And we're going to finish the match.
And we're going to finish it.
Right.
But until then, it's complete chaos.
But until then, it's like, okay, we kind of go by the rules. And then it's kind of like, we're going to distract the ref. Someone's going to play, like, beat 2-on-1 over here. And then.
Which it wasn't even, it was kind of a poor job that they did of distractive. The first one where Tony Blanchard holds Aerostar on the ropes and does the choke. That one was good. That one was all right. The next one, the ref kind of looked midway. And
the ref, I mean, the next one, I think it was during picture-in-picture. The ref was literally standing right there, and all he was doing was counting. And it was just like, no, that's literally a blatant disqualification. Like, right. Disqualify this team right now. That's how this works.
Right. It's crazy to me. But nevertheless, this was a dirty, the first of many. FTR was able to get the dirty pin and roll up. They rolled up Aerostar for the 1-2-3 to retain the AAA titles, which, again, we're not going to get into that.
At least Kalisto didn't lose.
You're right. You're right. He didn't. After that, we get Fozzy's Judas.
And my boy. Sammy Guevara.
One. That's one. How we got here, we'll just do a little back stump. His boy,
my boy,
faced last week on Dynamite. Ethan Page. He beat him off, defended his TNT title. And with that right, the Inner Circle gets to pick what we thought was all 5, but apparently we were wrong. They only got to pick 3. But anyway, they got to pick what members of the American Top Team would face Inner Circle in a Minneapolis street fight, which I don't know what that's going to be.
It's a street fight.
Okay.
In Minneapolis.
Everybody gets one. So anyway, the Inner Circle comes out. They're talking, and they're interrupted by Dave Lambert and America's Top Team. And there is a lot of jarring back and forth that most we are not going to say here live.
How about that fans only comment, though?
I love the insults that AEW puts out. They're just not family oriented, so that's all I'm going to put. But Dan Lambert starts the insults by saying he is the number 1 member of American Top Team.
And as soon as he said that,
we got happy.
Because
we knew where this was going.
Right.
And last week we said, I really want them to pick him so they can kick his teeth in. Like, make it so where he cannot grab the mic because he is terrible on the mic. Absolutely terrible.
I think his hype game is great. Like, he's got a great hype game, but like, I think
outside of that, it's garbage.
I mean, yeah.
And actually, I did some research. Again, the old Google device. Do you know how much it costs to train at the American Top Team gym in Miami? It's $3,000 a week.
Hey, to be America's Top Team, you got to have America's Top Bank.
I guess, and I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to continue. Anyway,
we definitely are not making YouTube videos on Facebook every Wednesday.
That's true. You're 100% correct. You're also not working at a dealership or car garage.
Right. You're 100% correct.
That's all you're doing. Anyway, so they start from left to right. What's up?
What's up?
Thanks for joining us, Tyler. What were your thoughts on tonight's AEW? Chat, I'm drawing a blank now. left or right? Who the
They started with Scorpio Sky.
right? Well, that's when we found out that Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky were the first two
Right.
that they were going to have, and then they picked. First picked was Junior DeSantos. Was the first pick. Second pick.
I'm gonna mispronounce the heck out of this name. Eldorowski.
Eldorowski. I know we're mispronouncing that too, but
Yeah.
one of the MMA guys.
Yeah.
And then there were some words exchanged
about an OnlyFans page and taking on 5 at once.
And there were some not family oriented comments, but eventually Dan Letterman said, "All right, enough. Who's number? I want to get out of here. We want you." And he's like, "No." He's like, "Oh, you said you were the number one member, so we want you." So it made it official. At Full Gear in 10 days, we are going to have the Inner Circle versus Dan Lambert, Ethan Page, Scorpio Sky, Junior DeSantos, and
Orowski or something along those lines. And I'm so sorry that I mispronounced your name. Please don't come to my house and kill me.
We don't want the smoke. We don't want it. We're just some YouTube guys.
Right,
Come on.
Right. We're just some random people on the internet.
We're okay.
We're nobodies, I promise.
After this promo, we get the Anna Jay. This is a bracket, another first round bracket for the TBS Women's Championship. And we get Anna Jay versus Jamie Hayes. And she comes out with the Britt Baker entourage, as she's a member herself.
Of course.
And this is
disappointing. Mostly because, not because it's the females, not because of anything else, but because, so Anna Jay, part of the Dark Order, then you got Jamie Hayes, who is obviously got Britt Baker's entourage, but, Anna Jay comes out all alone. And Jamie Hayes is kind of got all three of these two gals with her, and Anna Jay, man, she really showed some spirit and some passion.
She did. There was a lot of good moves,
and
there was a few moments where I thought, I'm like, wow, all right, she's actually going to do this. Okay.
And I honestly didn't think that they were actually going to keep pushing Hayes because of the whole entourage with
she's with Bray Baker. Why would she want
Baker? And I was just like, well, why would they want to break up the Baker thing? But
because who was next in line? You've got Rosa Thunder, so
Thunder Rosa,
which can't wait for that match. Just can't wait for that match.
But I mean, another distraction win here, obviously.
Not clean
with the two females on the outside. Just obviously numbers games become too much for Jay. And she gets tripped up by Baker on the outside. Then some heavy lariat to pick up the win for Hayes.
Jim Ross, good old JR.
But one heck of a lariat.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And
got the win.
So
a second dirty match.
And
dirty win.
On top of that, they were going to jump her again. Well, they did jump her again, and they came. Thunder Rosa was one of the two females who came to the rescue. So again, you see the next person in the bracket coming to the rescue. I question as to why are these females rescuing other females?
Because there's a really good mix, and this is one thing I will say that AEW has really done well. There's a good mix of heels and faces.
I guess, but competition-wise, if I'm a competitor,
but
I don't care if I'm a face or a heel. Competitor-wise, if I'm facing you and you get your tushy beat it in,
yeah,
I don't care.
Yeah. Thanks for softening them up.
Thanks. I'll take them on next week.
Right.
I
guess I just that's not the way Thunder Rosa wants to do it.
And that's fine. I'm all about fairness too. So I mean,
But you gotta question gameplay there for sure.
right? I mean, that's all I was questioning was the whole mindset behind it.
So after this, we get our next promo from MJF.
Maxwell Jacob Freeman.
Let me just tell you.
Hey, you know what? This boy is skilled on the mic. You cannot diss him out.
He is a fantastic person on the mic. And you know what I'm happy about this week? This week, we didn't cross that line. I will give you that. We did not cross that line. But
he must be watching our podcast.
But with fat shaming people. Nothing wrong with a little fluffy. I lost my train of thought now. He said, cut my music, and all that went through my mind when he said that is, can we just cut his mic? Is that possible? Like, oops, wrong button, sorry. But no, he came out and cut an absolute amazing promo. He is definitely one of the pillars, and he shows it on the mic. Promo after promo, why. And Darby Allin is out in the crowd, sitting, watching, and
been there all night.
Right. And Maxwell goes right to him and focuses on where he's at. And they have this kind of far out moment. And it's really interesting, this match that's going to happen at Full Gear between the two of them. It started out by they were having a promo, and Darby said that you're not going to beat me mentally. You mentally break me, he said. So then he tried to physically break him, and he did. I mean, he wasn't there for 2 weeks. But then he came back, and it has been all Darby Allin since then. And he said to Darby that, unfortunately, you won't be able to keep your emotions in check. And that's why I'm going to beat you. And Darby said, no. We're going to have a wrestling match because I'm going to take my frustrations right now. Well, Maxwell, being the coward that he is, starts heading up the ramp. But Stinger and some masked strangers were right there to get him back towards Darby Allin. And that's when the accountability buddies, Warlobe, were there to help kind of even the equation, but Darby Allin was already made his way. They parted the Red Sea of the crowd, and the fight was on. And Darby Allin showed JR what a hellacious lariat or clothesline, whatever you want to call it, was. Because he clotheslined, they both flipped from the outside, from over the barricade to back in. Darby Allin gets MJF in the ring, goes for the coffin drop, and MJF gets out of the way and runs for the hills. So I am really excited.
This is another one of those classic, we've built a story correctly. Now we're excited for a match.
Here's what I hope. I hope that we get a clean finish. I hope that we allow a pinfall to happen.
Or a submission or something.
And not a dirty pinfall where somebody's grabbing on the ropes, Wheeler. I want a clean finish or a clean tap, or let's have a good match. Don't waste the build by taking
the
worst
thing that you can do is just because this company is supposed to be built differently than all the other companies. So the worst thing you can do is give me long-term booking and then make it like everyone else.
Take the short way out.
Right.
As Cody said last week. Speaking of Cody, the American Nightmare and Andrade.
Mm-hmm.
This has been a rivalry that brewed during the Cody and Malachi Black story.
Right, I think right during it, because it was match 2.
Yeah.
That it ended, and then you had Cody disappear for a while, and then Andrade and Pac went at it.
Yep.
This is when the Andrade Cody feud started, but Arn Anderson somehow like mixed in with this.
Well, we'll get to there in a minute because I was that 9-year-old boy and he got excited when I saw that too. But we'll get to that in a minute. Anyway, Malachi Black, being that this is a partnership between Andrade and Malachi Black was barred from ringside. A couple other people should have been too, but we'll leave that alone for now. We get in the ring, and the stare down happens, and Andrade slaps the taste out of Rhodes' mouth, and that just sent Rhodes on a rampage. Throws him up against the ropes, punches him 10 times, which JR had a great point. The ref is being real lenient because he gave him a 10 count instead of a 5 count, holding him in the ropes. And Cody started just tearing into him. Where things went downhill for him quickly is he went for a move off the top rope. And Andrade was able to push him off to the outside where he hurt his knee a little bit. And then to further damage that knee, Andrade hits the chop block from behind. And then from that moment on, it's all Andrade until towards the end of the match. Rhodes starts firing up. Rhodes starts getting fired up. And then we see Andrade take back control. He hits the 3 amigos, which the third amigo ended up being the turnbuckle.
Yeah, that was a painful spill that they took right there.
And then Cody Rhodes gets back control of the match, takes a playbook out of his father's playbook with the punches and then the rolling elbow, the good old American dream. And here's where things start getting interesting. So Andrade is outside of the ring. Cody Rhodes is ready to go for the dive. And FTR lies under the ring and hits Cody Rhodes with the belt. Their tag team belt, which just deflated me. Such a great match that Andrade and Rhodes were having. Again, to lose dirty. Or to end in controversy. It was a pin. It won by pinfall, but it ends in controversy. Where things started getting interesting is after the match, Andrade obviously pinned and gets the win. Afterwards, FTR comes in and they start jumping Cody. Here's where things really get interesting for me, and that 9-year-old boy got really excited. Arn Anderson gets into the ring and turns Tony Blanchard around, and they square up. And I'm like, are we really about to see 2 of the 4 horsemen go at it? Are we really about to watch this? Let's go! It didn't happen. I was so disappointed. So disappointed.
I mean, we can't all have our dreams come true.
We can't. But you know what? Who did come out? The Lucha Brothers came to the aid of the American Nightmare. I don't know if I would say aid, more or less disdain for FTR. And they made sure they took care of Andrade, FTR, and Tony Blanchard went running. What I did think was funny is that Arn Anderson went out of the ring and then started following them. So I wonder if we're gonna see them two do something.
I mean, maybe. I just don't think that. I mean, AEW is different, and they let the. I don't want to say this word, but I'm gonna older wrestlers wrestle. I mean, however, to let Arn Anderson and Tony Blanchard go at it, we'd really have to stretch some boundaries. The best way to do this would be in a tag match.
Well, either that or even just if they did an Arn Anderson just punches Tony Blanchard and just,
right,
helps him out or something along those lines.
I mean, That's the only way I could see this. Or if we did it in like a way to where I guess if they were just fighting each other, there's no way that they could put them in a match against a younger talent.
Absolutely not. Yeah,
the only way that they could do it is if they were fighting each other. So like at least they don't have somebody that's going to like overpower them to the point where like they couldn't get back up or something like this. Like I don't obviously know those two's medical records, but I couldn't see them taking too many bumps.
I don't see our the enforcer going flat back bump.
No, I don't see Blanchard taking very many head bumps, face bumps, back bumps, anything. Honestly, like
yeah, for sure. But it was still kind of.
I mean, it still would be kind of cool. I mean, to see.
Right, absolutely. Well, after this, we get our main event for the evening, and then it's scheduled for one fall. This is a bracket match for the AEW number one contendership, and this is the empty spot that was filled by Miro. We talked earlier about Moxley taking his time off, stepping away for a little bit.
Well-deserved time off.
Yep, but Miro fills the opportunity. And we get Orange Cassidy, who is not 100%. Hell, I don't even think he was 75%.
Now, I have to wonder, like, Orange Cassidy has not been 100% since the ladder match, since the casino ladder match. That's when Adam Page came back and won the poker chip to fight Omega. And we are still only 10 days away from that scheduled match. If Orange Cassidy wins the ladder match, would he still be injured? I mean, these are just questions that I have because
I think
his ribs are still taped. They would tape the last couple.
So
of weeks
I think he was hurt, but I don't think he was injured until the match with Powerhouse Hobbs, because Hobbs had him in that rack attack for a good minute.
Yeah,
So
and Miro obviously didn't help tonight.
Well, so Cassidy knew from the very beginning he was not going to win the power move against Miro. So he had to
do everything.
He kept trying to go for the hands in the pocket. I mean, Miro wasn't playing.
Yeah, he really just had to try to he was trying to psych out Miro at first with the hands in the pocket, being faster than him, running outside the ring, building more of the getting on the nerves, I'm agitating you type situation. But then when he went for the suicide dive out of the ring and got caught, it was pretty much game over from that point.
Until it was not. Orange Cassidy was able to regain control. And he did put some moves on him.
I mean, he was able to give him a tornado DDT, which was excellently placed on him. Thought it was over after that.
He knows the history of Miro's neck.
Mm-hmm. Was able to put him through the table where the ring bell sits. I don't know. Long-term fans of AEW will know that
timekeeper area.
The timekeeper area where the bell and the ring announcer sits. Way different from where the commentator sits. So they were able to utilize that. Almost got a 10 count.
I was so upset. I'm like, no, this is not going to happen. Cassidy is not going to advance this way. No, we get 9, and I'm like, they're really about to do this. And then he jumps. Then the ref takes that 3 extra seconds before the 10, and Miro jumps back in.
I mean, it is AEW, so what are the rules?
And did you hear JR called Miro the Bulgarian Brute?
Yeah, I was wondering if that was even allowed because that should be copyrighted by WWE. Just saying. And then followed it up with or whatever you would call him.
I don't care, man.
But after you see all of this, Orange Cassidy does go for the what is it called? The Orange Punch. Then he gets a sidekick for his troubles.
Kicked the pulp right out of Orange Cassidy.
Kick the pulp right out of Orange Cassidy. What if he's no pulp orange juice? That's the only way.
Then he kicked the pulp in him.
All right, fair enough. And then obviously the smash to the back.
Game over.
And then he applies the game over. Tap out almost immediately. This
Well,
is what.
not only that, but to add insult to injury, to snap him fully.
Yeah. But this is what really makes me worried about Orange Cassidy, because it was like almost an immediate tap out. Like it was like as soon as he locked it in, like it was almost.
I think Orange Cassidy might need to take some time and get healed, because he was definitely he wasn't the Orange Cassidy that I've come to enjoy watching for sure.
And my thing is just like, did they leave it the way that it was supposed to be, even with Mox in the match? So like the winner, even though it was not the same person, was the outcome still the same?
Yes.
You know, like was Mox scheduled even to win the match anyway?
So I think Moxley was scheduled to win the whole thing. And we've had that.
I disagree, but we'll agree to disagree, because I think Danielson's going to win the whole thing.
I agree to disagree with that, because the only reason I say that is because we go full circle with Moxley and Hangman. If Moxley were to win. However, we are going to see next week, or it's at Full Gear, I'm sorry, we are going to see Bryan Danielson and Miro for the number one contendership for either Kenny Omega or Hangman Adam Page.
Because we've never seen this match before ever.
Now, here's something interesting. Just the last minute thoughts before we sign off. What if Danielson wins? Will Kenny win? So we get the rematch for the...
We get an ending?
Yeah, we get an ending for the AEW Championship.
What if... Here's the other twist, though. What if we get an ending? What if we get a Danielson win, an Omega win, but we still get a time limit on the title match that goes to a draw? And we never still get a winner.
Can I think about that one? But nevertheless, guys, thanks so much for joining us here for the All Elite Hour Inside the Squared Circle, both Facebook and YouTube. We will see you guys back Saturday. We are going to be doing a new podcast.
Woo! New things!
It will be called the WWE Spotlight. And basically, we are going to talk about all of the positive, all the good moments of WWE, both Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. So that'll be this Saturday. We will launch that podcast at 6:00 here, both Facebook and YouTube. You'll definitely not want to miss that. And then after that, we'll see you here back next Wednesday for All Elite Hour.
As always.
So with that being said, have a great rest of your night. Hope everyone has a good week, and we'll catch you guys on Saturday. Good night,
Peace
everybody.
out.